An old man, let us say, he was retiring, one day called his 3 sons and said, "My children, I am now very old and wish to retire. So it is time to share our 17 camels, but you must share the camels exactly as I tell you. You, my eldest son, worked very hard. Take a half of the camels. You, my middle son, just started to help out in the business. Take a third of the camels. And you, my youngest son, did nothing so far, but since you have good intentions, take a 9th of the camels." Let us say after the big retirement party, the father left on a round-the-world trip, and the sons came together to share the 17 camels exactly as their father told them. But there was a problem. The first son could not take half of the camels because 17 does not divide so well by 2. The second son could not take a third of the camels because 17 does not divide well by 3. And the third son could not take a 9th of the camels because 17 does not divide well by 9. So they argued and argued for many days. There seemed to be no way to honor the last wish of their father. Many alternatives were offered by family, by friends, by other villagers, but the brothers could not agree. As good chance would have it, a wise man passing the village heard of this dilemma facing the 3 sons and offered to help. The wise man got down from his camel, added it to the 17 camels in the field, so there were now 18 camels, and said, "Now divide the camels exactly as your father told you." With 18 camels, the first son was able to take exactly half of the camels. He walked away with 9 camels. The second son walked away with 6 camels, which was exactly a third of 18. The third son walked over and took 2 of the camels, which was exactly a 9th of 18. Surprisingly, there was 1 camel left over after the sons walked away satisfied with their share of the camels. The wise man went to the last camel, which happened to be his camel, and continued on his journey. Indeed, if you add up the camels shared by the brothers, you end up with 17, which is exactly the 17 camels their father originally left them with. So what happened, and what connection does this story have with negotiation? What happened is that the 3 sons got into a negotiation but remained at loggerheads with each other. They had a complex problem they could not solve themselves, but which a third party, a mediator, could find a solution for easily and quickly. Depending on who you speak to, there are 2 popular interpretations of this story. The most popular interpretation is from Conflict Negotiators and especially Psychologists, who will tell you that the 18th Camel represents the help of a negotiator or a psychologist who is not part of your life but appears when there is a problem, solves it, then disappears. Just like a catalyst in a chemical reaction, it accelerates the reaction but does not take part in it. The second most popular interpretation is that we should always try to see difficult, complex problems from different angles, especially when negotiating. The common phrase used is "find the 18th camel." Now, if we were to summarize both interpretations, the 18 camels story tells us that some complex problems may need outside help to solve them, and in every case, we must look at the problem from a new perspective. Also, it tells us that some solutions may initially seem to be very expensive on paper than in reality, just like the 18th camel, which was really never needed, but which helped to solve the crisis. The challenge remains: how can we know of what we will never really need beforehand? We know a negotiation is successful when all parties walk away from the table with the feeling that they won something, or at least that they have not been cheated. And since we cannot always afford to pay for expensive solutions, we need to look for the 18th camel, which not only is guaranteed to be the simplest solution, but also the solution that all parties will be willing to accept and collaborate on. The good news is that there is always the 18th camel out there. We just have to find it. Whatever you do, may it make you happy.